Recording in progress.
Good evening. We will call the Auburn City Council meeting for Monday, September 16th, 2024 to order, and we will begin with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge the federally recognized Muckleshoot Indian tribe, the ancestral keepers of the land we are gathered on today. We thank them for their immense contributions to our state and local history, culture, economy, and identity as Washingtonians. And this City Council meeting will be held both in person and virtually. Now, if you'd all please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. And Hannah, will you please call roll?
Deputy Mayor Brown.
Excused.
Councilmember Ammer.
Here.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Here.
Councilmember Rakes.
Here.
Councilmember Clinton Taylor.
Here.
Councilmember Tracy Taylor.
Here.
Councilmember Trout Manuel.
Here.
Thank you. We have one proclamation this evening. I'll go over to the podium and I'll ask the Acting Deputy Mayor Trout Manuel to join me. So this proclamation is for Hispanic Heritage Month, and the Acting Deputy Mayor Trout Manuel is the chair of the Hispanic Elected Local Officials Organization through National League of Cities. Whereas the observation of Hispanic Heritage Month began in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon Johnson, and was expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988 to cover a 30-day period, and was enacted into law on August 17, 1988. And whereas Hispanic and Latinx people serve honorably in our armed forces, have transformed industries with new, innovative ideas, are elected officials, public servants, essential workers, agriculture workers, teachers, and leaders who have led and inspired movements that have made our state more equal and just. And whereas this month-long celebration recognizes the valuable contributions and special opportunity for public and private organizations, business, the arts, and education to focus on the many Hispanic Americans whose lives have shaped our common history and heritage. And whereas during Hispanic Heritage Month and throughout the year, it is imperative to embrace the diverse history so that all children can see themselves in our nation's past and know that they have a crucial role to play in shaping our future. And whereas the theme of this year's observance, Pioneers of Change, Shaping the Future Together, the theme is meant to capture the Hispanic experience's spirit of innovation, resilience, and unity. And now, therefore, I, Nancy Backus, Mayor of the City of Auburn, do hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th, 2024, as Hispanic Heritage Month in the City of Auburn, and urge residents to recognize the role that our Hispanic community has played in enhancing and contributing to the rich diversity within our community. Dated this 15th day of September, 2024. That's you. Do you have any words that you would
Just
like?
a little. It's really an honor to serve on the committees that I am serving, representing our city of Auburn, and being the first Latina to have ever been voted on the city council for 126 years. It was an honor to have been voted by our constituents. I am always representing our city, representing our Hispanic culture, and try to do the best that I can. So thank you very much.
All right, we will move to appointments. Tonight, we have Junior City Council. City Council to approve the appointments of Fia Sochia, Erica Rios, and Joy Rush to Auburn Junior City Council for a 2-year term expiring August 31st, 2026. Is there a motion? Acting Deputy Mayor Trout Manuel.
I move to approve the appointment of Fia Sochia, Erica Rios, and Joey Rush to the Auburn Junior Council for a 2-year term expiring August 31st, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilmember Clinton Taylor.
I second that motion.
Thank you. Acting Deputy Mayor Trout Manuel.
It's always an honor to see these youth to step up and in a leadership position, and we are always so pleased to have them come and serve. And also, it's an honor to have 2 Latinas to be appointed on National Hispanic Month. So welcome and congratulations.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from council? All those in favor of the appointment of Fia Sochia, Erica Rios, and Joy Rush to the Auburn Junior City Council for a 2-year term expiring August 31st, 2026, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Motion carries. And yes, we do thank them for their interest and willingness to serve. All right, we have no agenda modifications this evening, if I understand correctly. Thank you. We will move to audience participation. The public can participate in person or submit written comment in advance, and this is the place on the agenda where the public is invited to speak to the City Council on any issue. Hannah, I understand we do have written comments this evening.
We received 3 written comments. The first from Stephen Cryer, and Stephen provided comments regarding camping ordinance number 6950. Our next written comment was from Mark Selich, and Mark expressed concerns regarding long-range acoustic devices, highway performance monitoring systems, and child trafficking. And our last written comment was from Sydney Bay, and Sydney expressed concerns regarding camping ordinance number 6950.
Thank you. And do we have anyone online wishing to provide comment this evening?
I just checked with multimedia, and they say that the 2 people that were expected are not online.
All right, thank you. We will move to in-person public comment. We ask that when you come up to the podium, you give your name and city of residence, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. There is a timer that Hannah will begin once your comments begin. Is there anyone that would like to speak this evening? Please come forward, name to the podium, name and city of residence for the record.
Good evening, Mrs. Mayor and Council. I'm Dr. Brass. I live in Southeast Auburn. I run both a for-profit and a non-profit business here. I also sit on the Police Advisory Council. I'm here tonight to talk again about the budget for the police department. It's my understanding that the council is moving in the right direction from 5 to now recommending 10 officers. That's a good start. I love the programs we have here in Auburn. My daughter, who's 35 and handicapped, is at the rec center all the time. It's a wonderful program. The senior center is a wonderful program. There's so many different things we're having that are wonderful, but it means nothing if we have kids getting shot in the street. It means nothing if a reckless car that could have been stopped if we had enough officers runs over a senior citizen or a child or anyone else in the city. It's unacceptable for us to have less than the minimal standard for the country, which for this size city should be 40, and that's what we need. 10 is a good start, but we have got to direct more money to the police department. If we're not safe, this is going to end up looking like Portland. I don't want that. I love this city. I'm not going anyplace, but I'm going to continue to fight for safety in this city. Please reconsider the budget and give us what we need to protect our citizens. I believe that's your number one duty that we elected you to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak this evening? In the back, in the burgundy.
Hi everyone, I have this written down, so I'm sorry if I'm not making eye contact.
And we're going to need you to speak up a little bit
Okay,
and then
great.
provide your name and city of residence for the
Okay.
record.
My name's Camila. I live here in Auburn, Southeast Auburn, over on M Street. I was born and raised in Auburn. I have two younger siblings. She's one of them. She's my youngest. I constantly worry about them. I second guess leaving my home. I second guess my safety and my siblings' safety. And I can't be a savior, but I will do my best to protect my baby siblings. But I should not have to fear of walking these streets no matter the time. None of us should have to worry whether or not we'll make it home to our family or our animals either. That's kind of all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then I believe you had a comment. Yes, please come forward. Name and city of residence for the record.
Hi, my name's Cindy Carmichael. I live in Auburn. I just down the road, about 5 minutes. Yeah, the gun violence here is just out of hand. I believe that it needs to be addressed. That it needs to be part of the budget. It needs to be something. I'm not the pro at this, right? I'm a pro at operating a train, but I'm not the pro of the violence that's going on here. We need people that are pros in that field, because we can't live like this. This is ridiculous. I fear for teenagers. I had two neighbors that got shot. Something needs to change. What's going to happen if people just leave? What are you going to do for jobs? I mean, the reality is if people leave here, you're not going to have a job. And that's already what I've been thinking, and I know some of my neighbors are thinking. Is that what you want of this Auburn, to become a ghost town? Because that's what it's going to turn into. Because there are safer cities than this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening? Please come forward, give your name and city of residence for the record.
Hi, Council. I'm Bonnie Helms. I'm from Auburn. Well, I'm from Enumclaw. I was born and raised in Enumclaw, Cumberland specifically. I actually kind of want to switch topics and talk about the BESS, the lithium BESS that's being proposed behind Emerald Downs, and just kind of introduce you to any information that you guys may not have about the fire risks that lithium batteries pose, especially giant storage containers of them that are proposed to take up acres of space. I have fire concerns, but I also have return on investment concerns for the city. Typically, when these are proposed, the taxes are the only things that we get from the initial project, the construction. We actually don't even get any jobs. These are monitored remotely as well. So I'm really wondering what Christopher Engineering is proposing as the return on investment is for Auburn and what we're going to be getting out of it, as opposed to just incurring all of the risk of having these dangerous lithium batteries next to Highway 167. There's also a lot of environmental damage that's done by lithium batteries. So if we're going to talk about this seriously as an environmental help to us, we're actually not decreasing CO2 emissions. We're actually just exporting them to China, especially if Christopher Engineering is planning on using Chinese-made batteries. Those are supplied by coal, unfortunately. So I have written comments to you guys too. I do want to empower you with knowledge that other cities, Black Diamond, Covington, Cedro-Woolley, Tri-Cities, are all fighting these. They've also placed moratoriums on these to allow time to investigate, not just the fire risk and mitigation factors that can be taken to make our community safe, but also alternative forms of technology that we can put in place. Things like sodium-ion batteries are coming around. They have no risk of cascading thermal runaway. They won't take days, weeks, sometimes to put out. Tens of firefighters at a time monitoring round the clock for reignition of these fires. San Diego has seen 3 battery energy storage fires in the last 6 months. California has the most deployed bus of any state. Second only to that is Texas, who also has a lot of issues. They just had Hurricane Beryl come through. It didn't supply them any power. People died during Hurricane Beryl because they were out of power for a long time. Millions of people were out of power. So they had battery energy storage. So there's a lot of things that these guys are going to come and tell you, that it's going to be your backup power, it's going to provide jobs, it's safe. It isn't. It's not going to. Please consider placing a moratorium on it now, and so that we can start investigating what it means for Auburn, the return on investment, and then possibly placing an ordinance to actually zone appropriately for these. It's not right where they're proposing it. So that's what I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Final? Yes, please come forward. Name and city of residence for the record, and please limit comments to 3 minutes.
Hi again, Diana Johnson. I live in Auburn. And last time I spoke to you, I invited the council to take a walk with me in one of the areas of violent crime in Auburn. And council members Trout, Manuel, and Baldwin gave me their cards after and asked to take me up on that offer. I could tell you many stories from what happened, including the experiences of residents who came out to speak with us about drive-bys, break-ins, unanswered 911 calls. But I want you to look at this map where we walked. The number of illegal discharges, shootings where no one was hit, but there's confirmation that these shootings happen, and I can show you the video footage. And the big ones are shootings where people were hit. 2 of those 3, it was innocent people. 3 innocent people who were shot. They were not members of gangs that were the victims this time. This is where we walked. And close to the intersection of 29th and M, just a block away from where someone was shot through the torso at 2 a.m. that morning, an innocent person outside their own apartment building, we stopped to talk with a mom and her daughter. The mom showed us a casing she recently found on her property, and the daughter told us about how terrifying it is to walk to school. Then a vehicle took off like a race car from the stop sign, heading directly toward us. This was the 3rd strange vehicle behavior on our walk. So I was cautious, but also aware that it's South Auburn, and that's normal there. The car slowed down, I thought in order to get back to the speed limit, but then stopped and sat in the middle of the road, right in front of the house we were at. The driver was not looking around, but staring down at his lap intently. I suggested we move behind the fence right before he began revving the engine and reaching for something. 2 members of the group we were with had already been in drive-bys before and knew what was about to happen. We all dove down with nothing but a wooden fence for cover. Surveillance footage shows he had rolled his window down to approach us and that his arm was out the window as we were behind the fence. But for some reason that I call a miracle, he quickly rolled the window up and raced away. Once it was quiet, we carefully stood up. I called the commander who co-chairs the Police Advisory Committee because I knew calling 911 wouldn't do anything. While the council members and the other PAC member held and cried with the mom whose fence we were still hiding behind. The rest of us eventually got to leave and feel safe in our homes, but when I stopped by to visit that mom 3 days later, I got just a small taste of the hypervigilance on a daily basis that they live with. And we must stop accepting this as normal. We have to stop laying the responsibility at the feet of others. And I'm not here because I blame you. I'm not mad at you. I want to work with you. I don't think you understand how bad it is, and I can't let myself believe you just don't care. But I do find it difficult to believe things would be this bad for this long if any of you or the chief lived on that corner. You have the power, even if you don't think you do. Please, please do something. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening? All right, we will move on. We have no correspondence this evening for council review. Council, we are going to move into executive session. The City Council will adjourn into executive session per RCW 42.30.110, sub 1, sub I, sub 2I, and sub 3I to discuss the legal counsel potential litigation that may be commenced against the city and the legal risks of a proposed action when public discussion of the litigation or legal risk is likely to result in an adverse legal or financial consequence to the agency. The length of the time for the executive session is 30 minutes. We will resume the meeting at 7:49. In addition to myself, the City Council, Senior City Staff Attorney Taryn Jones, Real Estate Manager Josh Arndt, Public Works Director Ingrid Gaub, Public Works Assistant Director Jacob Sweeting, Director of Human Services Kent Hay, and Director of Finance Jamie Thomas will be required to attend, and we will make that 7:50 as a return time. We are adjourned to executive session. We will call the Auburn City Council meeting back to order, and we will move to Council Ad Hoc Committee reports. Council Ad Hoc Committee chairs may report on the status of their ad hoc council committee's progress on assigned tasks and may give their recommendations to the City Council, if any. And we will have Chair Baldwin of the Finance Ad Hoc Committee provide a report.
Thank you, Mayor. The Council Ad Hoc Finance Committee, consisting of Councilmember Ammer and myself, reviewed 2 sets of claims vouchers. For the set dated September 11th, 2024, we reviewed 172 pages of claims vouchers, including 6 electronic fund transfers and 4 wire transfers for approximately $9.36 million. For the set dated August 28th, 2024, we reviewed 37 pages of claims vouchers, including 8 electronic fund transfers and 3 wire transfers for a total of approximately $3.4 million. And then we also reviewed 2 sets of payroll vouchers for the period between August 15th and August 28th, 2024. That amount was $3.34 million, and that included payroll check number 539607, as well as electronic deposits. For the period covering August 29th to September 11th, that totaled approximately $2.91 million and covered payroll check numbers 539609 to 539611, as well as electronic deposits. We did not have any questions in this review cycle, and with completion of our review, we would recommend that we approve the vouchers. Thank you.
Thank you. We will move to the consent agenda. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered by the City Council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Is there a motion? Acting Deputy Mayor Trout-Manuel.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilmember Clinton Taylor.
Second that motion.
Thank you. Acting Deputy Mayor Trout-Manuel.
Tonight's consent agenda consists of minutes from the August 19th, 2024 City Council meeting, minutes from August 26th, 2024 special City Council meeting, minutes from the August 26th, 2024 study session meeting, setting the public hearing date for T-Mobile West LLC franchise agreement, and claim vouchers, payroll vouchers as described by Councilmember Baldwin.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from council? All those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. The consent agenda passes. All right. Unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business? Acting Deputy Mayor Trout-Manuel.
Yes, I move to remove the council rules and procedures discussion.
You need to turn your microphone on.
Thought I pushed it on. I apologize. I move to remove the council rules and procedures discussion items from September 23rd and September 30th, 2024 study session meetings and add the items to the November 25, 2024 study session meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilmember Baldwin.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Acting Deputy Mayor Trout-Manuel.
Yes, I would like to move it because we've got so many things on our plates right now, like this violent crimes that are happening, and also our budget and our, see other items we've got. Our comprehension plan, and so I think that those are more urgent than our consent, rules and procedures. I apologize.
Thank you. Questions or comments from council? Councilmember Baldwin.
Thank you, Mayor. I would tend to agree that right now, between the matters at hand with our getting through our budget cycle, as well as the comprehensive plan, and looking at what other emerging needs are coming out for the city, I'm comfortable moving it to November.
Thank you. Other comments? Councilmember Ammer.
I have a question. As our agenda already been present to us, it's coming next Monday, and I think by checking the next November will be so full. So technically, what we have, what left, it's only, I think, part of it, so we be able to move forward. That's why I want to ask what's the reason to move it.
I just said the reason.
Excuse me,
Oh, I apologize.
Acting Deputy Mayor, did you have a comment that you'd like to make?
Yes, I do. I just stated that we have so many things on our plates that are more important than our rules and procedures, and I don't see any problem on holding off until November. And I realize we do have some things on our plate, on our agenda at that as well, but right now, I think what's going on in our city, and we need to focus on that, and also our budget and our comprehension. Thank you.
Comprehensive plan. Any other comments before, Councilmember Rakes?
Does one of those dates in November, are we going to be going to NLC?
It's quite possible. I believe the November 12th date, many council members will be gone to the National League of Cities conference, yes. Councilmember Ammer?
I understand we all care about our city, what's going on in the city. As a part of the municipal court, we know that we will be talking with the chief to talk about it. But I want to ask the mayor, as we all care about it, I thought there is already a plan to address the gun violence in the city. Is that correct statement, Mayor?
Well, for that, your municipal services special focus area, upcoming, I believe, in 2 study sessions from now, I don't have the council, October 23rd, will be dedicated to public safety, and gun violence will specifically be addressed within that meeting. So yes, you do have some very full agendas coming forward, and your council rules of procedure do say currently that you will review and update annually. So you are within that window of time, and by the end of the year should be accomplished. Any other questions or comments? All right. All those in favor of, and Acting Deputy Mayor, would you please give me those dates again that you were wanting them postponed to a date specific?
November 25th at our study session meeting.
Okay, so currently you have them scheduled for 2 study sessions, the next 2 study sessions, but you're proposing that they only go to the November 25th?
Okay. I didn't bring let me look at the calendar. We have a November 12th, but that is when I believe we're all leaving, so I don't think that we could have it on that. So I'm not sure if that study session is going to be canceled or not, November 12th.
Most likely that study session will be canceled. So then your next opportunity would be
We do have an item on that
December
day as
9th.
well.
But you have December 9th, which would only give you December 16th to pass those.
Okay, and I believe that that's another date that we were talking about, December 9th. So we can still be in compliance by the end of the month.
Right, so you're wanting
Of
to
December.
postpone them to November 25th and to December 9th. Okay. All right. Councilmember Tracy Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. My concern with us pushing this back to November and December dates does not give us enough time to bring this forward to study session, have those open discussions, and then continue to make iterations of the council policies and procedures. We've done this several different times now. I believe it's 3 different times. I am not confident that this council can get the work done in those 2 study sessions and be able to pass this before the end of the year.
Anyone else before I call on someone who has already spoken? Councilmember Taylor, Clinton Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm okay with pushing it back to the 25th. I agree we do have a lot of things on the agenda. I think, if I'm not mistaken, at the last meeting, with the help of our city clerk, we were able to really pull a lot of those pieces together, and we were almost finished that day. I think there was maybe a few more items on the list that folks still wanted to weigh in and have some input on. So it wouldn't necessarily, based on where we left off from our previous meeting a few weeks back, we would be revisiting a lot of the things that we've already agreed on, and the clerk just agreed to make those changes in there. So I think that we could get through the remaining portion of that and then bring that to vote for the council.
Okay. Councilmember Baldwin, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I was just going to say similar to what we heard from Councilmember Clinton Taylor, which is that we have been making good progress. I think we've found an effective model for going through it in our future sessions. And I think that we have the ability at any time to, approve it through iterative states if we so desire. If we need to have an official approval, we can always approve to vote progress to date. And then continue working as we need. So it's one of those areas where we have innate flexibility to change it, modify it, address it as and when we see fit as a governing body. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Rakes.
Thank you, Mayor. I have to say, at first I was all for pushing this out, but now that I look at the dates, we have to remember that one of the biggest chapters that have all the changes in it is the deputy mayor chapter and going forward, which is going to take a while. So I am concerned that we wouldn't come to a consensus, and we have to have it passed by the end of December, and we're not having the last meeting on it till December 9th.
Thank you. Acting Deputy Mayor Trout-Manuel.
As we've been talking about that chapter had so much stuff in there that us as council members can rule it out. And I also started thinking about, there's 7 on this council, and we're working with 6 people, and there's one that has not been here for certain reasons. And I don't feel comfortable on us passing this also because that individual hasn't had the chance to voice his position, and we don't know if he's going to come back or not. And if he isn't, we're going to have to vote someone in for his position. And I feel that we need to have a 7 vote in this procedure, policy and procedure that we've been putting together. So I feel that we can do it just as Councilmember Clinton Taylor suggested. I don't see any problems because that chapter 13, there is a lot of stuff in there that we can all kind of look at it, and it's stuff that we don't really need in there. But that's my personal opinion.
Thank you. Councilmember Ammer.
Thank you. I think Acting Deputy Mayor highlights something important, that we really need to have another, either our Deputy Mayor, he will be back or he may not. So that's the reason we want to make sure, and because in our current rule of procedure, we cannot appoint if he want to excuse himself. We cannot appoint a new member. But the new one, we already have it in process to allow us to have 7 members if he decided not to be part. So that's another reason. Thank you for pointing that, to show how important we should continue to finish our rules and procedure to allow us in case he decided not to come back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one more.
Acting Deputy Mayor Trout-Manuel.
Again, there's no need for us rushing through this when I feel that we can get this completed by this December time. Thank you.
All right. So the motion on the table is to defer or postpone the discussion on the council rules of procedures updates for 2024 to date specific of November 25th and December 9th, 2024. All those in favor of that postponement, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no.
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 Okay, we do not have a majority, so the motion fails. Okay, moving on. Do we have any new business? Councilmember Baldwin.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have new business for tonight. I would move to request an ad hoc committee to address gun violence in the Auburn community.
Thank you. Is there a second? Acting Deputy Mayor Troutman.
I'm going to second that.
Thank you. Councilmember Baldwin.
Thank you, Mayor. So, as we've heard from people in our audience speaking to us tonight, speaking to us on prior evenings, and inviting us out to see what's happening in their neighborhoods, I believe that council should be stepping up to the plate and forming this ad hoc committee to see what we can do to address gun violence within the Auburn community. This committee would be set up to work with the mayor, work with the Auburn Police Department, members of the Police Advisory Committee, and the senior leadership team as needed to develop a multi-pronged approach to address gun violence and increase neighborhood safety. The committee would also work to determine a one-time budget request for the 2025-2026 biennium to fund temporary initiatives to combat gun violence, increase community safety, and connect the community to resources. The committee would also work with Auburn PD, Valleycom, and other departments to develop a heat map for gun violence and identify areas of concentrated activity in order to inform emphasis patrols. And the committee would work with partners to develop recommendations to bring to council, as well as the committee would solicit input from council and provide ongoing updates during regular study sessions. I believe that this is needed because I think that we're taking a right step forward by increasing the number of officers that we have in the community. But as we're at this moment and we're looking at our budget going forward, we're looking to spend $109 million in 2025, $114 million in 2026, and I think that we have the ability to do some, creative work, looking to develop solutions, working in partnership with our community that we can bring forward. And so I would like to form this committee to allow council to begin working with our administration and staff towards that goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions or comments? So I just want to share a few things. Councilmember Baldwin, an ad hoc committee, and we confirmed this with City Attorney Whalen today, an ad hoc committee cannot pull in residents or community members or other organizations in an ad hoc committee. That ad hoc committee is specifically to be the work of those three individuals and potential staff members who would be invited to join, but it cannot be asking for input from the community. It then becomes an illegal public meeting if you do so. We are scheduling, in partnership with the Auburn School District, and as I've mentioned, 2 council members attending each of the 6 meetings, 1 in each district, to talk about gun violence and public safety. Those meetings are being scheduled right now. The agendas will be worked most likely on Wednesday with Dr. Spiciotti and Family Engagement Director Isaiah Johnson, as well as our Director of Outreach and Engagement, Brenda Goodson-Moore, and myself. There will be the opportunity at these town hall meetings for more direct input from the community, which can then be brought back and worked on with staff and discussed with council for actions moving forward. It may be a little bit preliminary for an ad hoc committee in that regard. Councilmember Baldwin.
Thank you, Mayor. I think to your point about being able to have those community conversations, I think having an ad hoc committee identified would allow us to know which council members would be able to be present, participating in those with you and with any staff that would be at those community conversation sessions. I think the goal is to make sure that council continues to stay involved and informed. And so to your point of whether the committee in its own standing meetings can engage the community, that may not be allowable, but it does not negate the ability for the committee to attend the events that the city hosts.
The goal is to have each council member attend. There are 6 meetings, so there would be 1 to 2 council members per meeting so that every council member could hear what the community has to share. Any other questions or comments? Acting Deputy Mayor Trout Manuel.
I just have a comment. I'm happy that you're holding these 6 public town hall meetings because there was a young lady out there in the audience that she was one of them that the lady spoke about when we went doing the walkabout, and the fear that this little girl showed when we all dropped to the ground, and when she got up and she was shaking and her eyes were huge, and she lives this every single day, and she's afraid of walking to school one way. She was thinking of moving to the other school, but on the other side there's some other individuals that are doing some shooting, and this poor girl. My hopes out of these city town hall meetings is that we come out with some type of resources for mental health for the whole family, with some type of counseling for the youths that are being traumatized by these horrific events that are going in our town. But I'm looking forward to seeing these town hall meetings and what we can get out of it, and let's get something done.
Thank you. Anyone else that has not commented? Councilmember Rakes.
I agree. Gun violence is a big topic right now. Councilmember Baldwin, would you be comfortable, instead of doing the ad hoc committee right now, is letting us attend these meetings, letting the municipal committee deal with some stuff and see what we come out of it, so we could, if we wanted to do a ad hoc committee, we would have more specific things that we would learn out of these?
Councilmember Baldwin, if you'd like to respond.
Sure. I think my response is that we have known and we have been hearing from our community that gun violence has been taking place. And I think that community conversations are one piece of a overarching puzzle. But I think that I'm looking for us to have an ad hoc committee to really step up and be drivers. Through that committee, it gives us the ability to utilize our study sessions, to have points where we can engage all of council to come together, similar to how we did with rules and procedures. So having the committee is going to give us the opportunity to put it on the agenda, keep it on the agenda, keep the conversation going. And in talking about what benefits we could have with this, you know, we heard some really great ideas just in the brief time leading up to it. We heard about the ability to have summer hours, extended hours for the community center, so teenagers have a safe place to go if they're not at school and if they're not at home. We heard about bringing back civilian patrol. We talked about the potential for blue light cameras to be in the community to create some deflection for potential crime. We had heard about ways that we could maybe modify traffic patterns or increase lighting or use resource guides to connect families within the district to services that would be available at King County or other places. So I don't think the solution is officers only. I don't think the solution is community conversations only. I think the solution is going to take community input and community voices. And I would like to see that happen through an ad hoc committee because I think that keeps it in the moment, on the table, and available for us to stay focused in the weeks coming.
Thank you. Councilmember Ammer.
So I want to say something. As we all care about the city, we may not get, when the public came in to talk to them with the rules as the public, we cannot more than 3 council to act with the public. So we all care about the city. So it's so important for us to pass the budget we have for having 10 officers to allow get quick response. Because one of the things that changed of the law that only every time officer would go, he need another one. So with having only 6 officers, limit the police to respond. This is one comment. Second, as a long-time volunteer with Auburn Police, I know they're probably doing their investigation. They probably try to solve it. They may not come talk to us now because all the time the news will go to as it will go to the community, the good community will go to the bad people who will change their behavior. We all working for the community. So for now, I think this is our municipal, as we maybe public, they're not familiar that each council divided into different groups. So we have the municipal, which chair Cheryl Backus, council member, and myself. So this is so important for us, and we will bring it next October 23rd. Besides, we will hear from when we go talk to the public. We need to keep going about our budget to get more police. I know the volunteer or the community change with everything. Maybe we need to bring it back. So I think we should be allowed to have, as a people in the municipal, bring the solution and talk. Then after that, we go talk to the public. Because it look unfair for the council when only 2 people look, they talk, and the community think the other people don't care, while all of us, we care. That's why we need the budget to move. That's why we care about the community. I don't love firework because it reminds me of gun. I'm one who, this is personally, I'm speaking about myself. So we care about everybody in the community, and we need to address it as united and keep our budget going. Thank you.
Other council members, comments? Councilmember Baldwin.
Yep. I think it's interesting that the opportunity to utilize the special focus areas as an opportunity arrives only after we bring forward the desire to have an ad hoc committee to address gun violence. I think in that space we see that, as we've heard on the dais, that committee is not meeting until October 23rd. That's a month away. And in the meantime, we have additional shootings that are going to continue to happen. We have people who are going to be going through those neighborhoods. And when I did the tour that was referenced earlier during public comment, what I noticed was that where one of those shootings has taken place recently was across the street from a daycare. And the hard part in leaving that situation was knowing that the people who still live in those neighborhoods are going to continue to live in those neighborhoods. And in doing my work on council, my goal for the committee is not just to have the conversations, but also to identify what are these potential initiatives that we can do, and how do we need to address the budget to achieve that. In our budget, we are good through the next biennium from a financial standing. We're good in the biennium after that. That's the next 4 years. We don't have risks that surface until we're in the 3rd biennium in a 5 to 6 year range. And I think it is on council to identify what we want to put aside for any of these potential ideas or others that may be out there from a budget standpoint. So keep in mind that the ad hoc committee I'm recommending is to address how we might need to change the budget to meet this need in our community, and what can we do in that space. I don't have all the ideas. I don't think any one person does, but I think it's on us as a council and as a body to work with mayor, work with the community as we can, and come up with some good solutions that we can put into place as soon as possible, not waiting a month to get started, not waiting until 6 conversations get scheduled, but starting as soon as possible. And my last point on that is, in this work that I do, you heard me speak to the vouchers as I serve as chair of the finance committee. One of the things that we've just approved tonight are ballistics vests for our officers, which can be $2,364.50. I don't know that the kids walking to school are going to be able to afford ballistics vests. So I think that we need to look for ways to deal with this as council and to do that work for our community. Thank you.
Councilmember Rakes.
Councilmember Baldwin, I don't know where you got that the municipal service meeting was a month away, because we have one this next week on the 23rd at 4 o'clock.
Councilmember Ammer?
No, I was planning to
That's-
correct the date, because we're planning to set next week, and we will come back after that to address it with the community, with you. That's where, because, you know, we have to work as a body. Thank you.
Councilmember Baldwin?
When the special focus group meets, that's fine. My point still stands is that I think separate from the traditional special focus area, I still think an ad hoc committee is going to be able to do more and achieve more on this issue for our community. So my motion still stands.
Acting Deputy Mayor Troutman.
You know, I have to agree with Councilmember Baldwin. Our focus study committee has known about all this shooting that's been going on in the community, has been very quiet reporting anything on what's been going on in your committees. And I have not seen either one of you, the chair or the vice chair, ask to take that walk around to look at how these people are living. Having those people coming out of their houses to face us and to tell us the fears that they're going through every single day. A person, their son got shot. The bullets went through their house, went clear to the kitchen, through the house. And I have not heard these focus committee say that they would want to go do the walk around to see how bad that community is suffering. I have a lot of compassion, and this is just hurts me to see what's going on in our city, and we need to do more than what we are doing. And I praise our police department. We have a great police department. I've always thought that since I've been here for 11 years. But we need to do something now for these families, not just talking about meetings and meetings and meetings, and we're not coming up with some solutions. Thank you.
Councilmember Ammer.
Thank you. I just want to end. I think this is turned to be different and point finger and put people they're not doing their job, while you don't know where is the council live, where is the other shooting going. If we didn't walk with the team, you know that with public it's need only 2 or 3. We cannot all walk. So I'm just want to point. We need to think working together, not point finger. We all care about everything, and we care about the community. The two, we live in the area where is the main shooting, so we know what's going on. I understand what's feeling. So let's keep the work going. Don't point finger. Don't try to put other council down. While all of us, we work, we care about the community. That's why we're being here. So thank you.
Somebody want to call for the question? All right, Councilmember Riggs.
I'm sorry, I have to add to that. I may not have walked around, but I did a police ride around. So I do know what's going on in the community. And my only thing was, we can't order the police chief and we can't order the mayor to attend our ad hoc meetings, because that's part of the administration part. My only suggestion was, let's go to these community meetings. Let's find out what people are talking about. Then we have something solid to work on. But just having an ad hoc committee and not having, I don't know, they could tell us no, they're not going to attend them. I don't know, that's their right. And if they don't, then it's us jumping through hoops trying to figure out what we can do. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Councilmember Tracy Taylor.
I'd like to make a call for questions, Mayor.
All right. So the call for question is not negotiable, if I recall correctly. So that will end the discussion, and all those in favor of creating an ad hoc committee on gun violence, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no.
Nay.
No.
Okay, that is 3-3. We do not have a majority. The motion does not pass. All right, ordinance number 6949, an ordinance for a site-specific rezone of a portion of one parcel from R10 residential zone, 10 dwelling units per acre, to R20, 20 dwelling units per acre. Is there a motion? Councilmember Tracy Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve ordinance 6949.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilmember Ammer.
I second.
Thank you. Councilmember Tracy Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 6949 changes the zoning map designation of a portion of King County parcel number 333-9900507 from R10 residential to 10 dwelling units per acre to R20 residential, 20 dwelling units per acre in response to an application from the property owner.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor of ordinance number 6949, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Ordinance number 6949 passes. Ordinance number 6950, an ordinance relating to camping on city property, amending sections 2.22.210 and 9.50.030 of the Auburn City Code and providing for severability and an effective date. Is there a motion? Councilmember Clinton Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that ordinance 6950 be approved.
Thank you. Is there a second? Acting Deputy Mayor Trout Manuel.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Clinton Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. City-owned properties and facilities are designed and maintained to serve specific purposes that benefit the community as a whole. Parks, recreational areas, and public buildings are intended for recreation, leisure, community events, and civic engagements. Preserving these spaces for their intended use ensures they remain accessible, safe, and enjoyable for all residents, and this amendment is intended to reinforce those principles.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Councilmember Baldwin.
Thank you, Mayor. On ordinance 6950, I have to say it's one where if we had tried to tackle this a few years back, I may have been more conflicted, but I think in recent years we've seen so much work by the city and by our anti-homelessness coordinator to work on putting together a reasonable ladder of getting people into shelter and into housing. We have a number of options available to us, from housing vouchers to Don's Place to our overnight shelters, that I think we're really building the right continuum to get people out of tents and into better facilities. And so I would say, knowing that we have that available to us going forward, that we try and make that available to folks who are out unsheltered, it's with that context that we hear this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. All those in favor of ordinance number 6950, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Ordinance number 6950 passes. Ordinance number 6952, an ordinance relating to water main extensions and requirements for private fire hydrant installations and maintenance responsibilities, and amending chapters 13.06, water system responsibility, 13.08, water main extensions and payments, and 13.16, fire hydrants of the Auburn City Code. Is there a motion? Councilmember Tracy Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve ordinance 6952.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilmember Clinton Taylor.
I second that motion.
Thank you. Councilmember Tracy Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. The engineering design standards included revisions to water main extensions and provide a section pertaining to requirements for private fire hydrants and the water mains those serving fire hydrants. Ordinance 6952 amends portions of Chapter 13.06, 13.08, and 13.16 of Auburn City Code to be consistent with the published engineering design standards and to clean up references in City Code to old standards that are no longer in use.
Thank you. Questions or comments? All those in favor of ordinance number 6952, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Ordinance number 6952 passes. Ordinance number 6953, an ordinance amending conditions of ordinance number 6839 associated with vacating right-of-way of a portion of West Main Street east of Lund Road Southwest within the city of Auburn, Washington. Is there a motion? Councilmember Tracy Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve ordinance 6953.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilmember Rakes.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Councilmember Tracy Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance amends ordinance number 6916, 6893, and 6839, modifying certain conditions associated with vacating the right-of-way of a portion of West Main Street east of Lund Road Southwest within the city of Auburn.
Thank you. Questions or comments? All those in favor of ordinance number 6953, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Ordinance number 6953 passes. All right, we are moving to mayor and council member reports. At this time, the mayor and city council may report on significant items associated with their appointed positions on federal, state, regional, and local organizations. We will begin with Acting Deputy Mayor Troutmanuel.
No report.
Thank you. Councilmember Rakes.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Clinton Taylor.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Tracy Taylor.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Kate Baldwin.
No report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ammer.
No report.
All right. Well, I do have a couple of items that I think are important to the situations that have been discussed just this evening and last week. First one, though, on Wednesday, September 4th, I attended an aerospace dinner hosted by the Seattle Metropolitan Chamber. They had commissioned a study by a local economist to discuss the impact of the aerospace region or the aerospace industry on this region. Just a couple of items of note for the big picture economic impact. In 2023, the aerospace industry directly generated $57.2 billion in business revenue, 77,400 jobs, $11.3 billion in worker wages, and it created $71 billion in revenue for Washington businesses. Let's see. Oh, and for total economic impact, it was the $71 billion. 194,000 jobs and $19.4 billion in worker wages. And taxes in the aerospace industry, $580 million in tax revenue, including $173 million in B&O taxes to the state. So I think that's really good information, and I do hope that those involved in the machinist strike currently are back to the table to negotiate quickly. Not saying anything about who might be right, who might be wrong, just hoping that they get back to the table immediately because the impacts of a strike can be significant on any community. On Thursday, September 5th, I attended a town hall on transit hosted by King County Councilmember Pete Von Reichbauer, and the discussion with Jerron Sparman, who is the interim CEO for Sound Transit, was focused on Federal Way light rail, and it will be open in 2026. As we probably know, there were some delays in completing that extension due to some very unstable ground that the rail had to go over. And so kudos to all of the engineers, those creative minds that were able to get everything back on schedule for a 2026 opening. And then later in that day, Chief Collier, myself, our Chief Equity Officer, had a meeting with Eleuthera Leash, who is the director of the Regional Offices of Gun Violence Prevention. Eleuthera had been at a recent community meeting, and I work with her on the elected leadership group that is advisory for the Gun Prevention Office. And she is offering to host in the city of Auburn a lockbox event that will provide lock boxes for those with guns to keep them safe. And so we will be working on that. We don't have a date yet for that. We are going to be working in conjunction with those 6 community meetings that we will be holding. And then on that evening was the first Civics Academy that was held here in council chambers. We have, I believe, 25 residents from the community who are actively engaged now in the Civics Academy. They have had 3 sessions, I believe, with the one on Saturday that where they attended the White River Valley Museum tour that council, I believe most of you have attended. And I will leave it at that. And we have already had our executive sessions this evening, and so we are adjourned.